Good morning. Another Friday came up fast again, right? Looking outside, I'm surprised to see some snow. Here in Ohio, if you wait long enough and you don't like the weather, it's going to change. Yesterday, I don't know how warm it got, but it got warm. It rained a lot, and now it's snowing again, but you can feel spring, right? You can feel it coming. The birds are starting to sing their springy songs. I smell the skunk. That's a sign of springtime here in Ohio. I don't know about where you live. So we're going to work a little bit on chair pose today, Utkatasana, and it can be a pose that isn't a favorite. It translates to fierce pose. We say chair pose because it looks like you look like a chair, but you also look like you're sitting back into a chair, but it's called fierce pose. So let's break it down today. Meet me on your mat. Let's start out in a modified happy puppy. So you can see on the side camera, we're going to start in table and then bring my forearms down and let my head hang. Kind of decompress the spine here. Coming to the breath. The breath is interesting in this shape. It feels different. Just notice. And as you're noticing the breath, become aware that you're witnessing sensation. So you're present, you're right here. And by witnessing the breath, we provide ourselves an anchor to bring the mind back to. We'll take about 3 more breaths here. Nice deep breaths. And then coming to table. So place the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Spread your hands out wide. Push the mat away, like you're at the very top of a push-up. Feel that lift in between the shoulder blades, and that will provide some support to the shoulder girdle, to the shoulder socket. We're bearing weight on the arms. Let's do some circles here. My knees are popping and cracking. That's okay, just as long as it's not a painful sensation that accompanies the cracks and the pops. Go the other way. Warming up the body. And then back to table. Walk your knees just a little bit wider for this one. Tap your feet on the top of the mat, bringing some awareness, some spatial awareness to the body. Take the left hand thumb up. I'm going to circle up, back, and down, and then drag the fingers a bit across the mat as you come back to your starting point. And we'll do 5 of these, waking up the shoulder. Add that resistance. Let's do 1 more, because I'm a terrible counter. That could be 5, that could be 6. I don't think it was 4. Now let's go to the other side. Big circle. See if you can watch your hand. Let the neck get involved in this. Two more. Yawn that shoulder back there. Reach. That slow movement allows us to tap into the full range of motion, warming everything up before we get a little more bold in our movements today. Now come back to table with the knees under the hips and the wrists under the shoulders, and let's just shift forward and back here. And you can start with just a little forward and back and get bigger if that feels good in your body. So notice as you shift forward, you're countering that forward movement in the wrists that we do with our work throughout the day. A little counter stretch. And then as you come back towards child, stick those hands to the mat. Push the floor away so you're reaching with the arms and the hands don't move. And since the hands don't move, the sit bones really get pressed down into the heels. You'll stretch through the back. Breathe. Let's hold here and breathe into this stretch. Keep the arms lifted. Hands are on the mat. Arms are engaged. Breathe up and down the spine, into the hips. Let's walk the hands over to the right. Keep those hips down. Push the floor away. Let the heart melt down towards the mat, but the arms are engaged. Breathe into the left ribs. And then walk to the right. Same thing here. Push the floor away. Stretch the right side of the chest now. And then use the breath to open up the right ribs. And walk the hands forward. And let's come back to the table. Lift your left knee out to the side. I always call this fire hydrant pose, and when I explain it that way, everybody knows what I mean. Or do circles in the hip. Feel the range of motion, feel the sensation. And your task right now is just to find that range of motion in the hip, in your hip this morning. Now go the other direction. And plant that knee down. We'll take the second side, right knee out, fire hydrant, circles. So the slow movement allows for accessing full range of motion, but it also, go the other direction, gives the mind and body time to pattern the movement in a slow way. So lots of things happen in the nervous system to initiate movement. It's nice to slow it down and repattern that movement. Let's come back to table. Tuck your toes. We're just going to hover the knees and the shins. So hover. Feel that connection in the core. Breathe. Push the mat away with the arms. Feel the core. Feel the low belly. Feel those hip points in the front being pulled towards each other, the transverse abdominis engaging. Now on an inhale, nice slow lift into down dog. Wake those hamstrings up. Let's move here. Still warming up today. Nice slow movement to experience the sensations. Honoring all of those muscle fibers, not just jumping past and moving on to the next thing. And come to stillness. Bring your feet wide, left and right edges of the mat, and drop the heels towards the mat. You step forward just a bit so you shorten your down dog. And once you're here, maybe the feet come to the mat. The knees can stay bent a bit. Push the mat away again. Lift the sit bones a little higher. Take your left hand under your body to the right shin. And come into a twist here. Look under the right arm. Breathe. Waking up the spine. We'll take the second side. Right arm under the body to the left shin. Pull and twist. Unwind. We're going to keep the feet right where they are. We're going to walk the hands to the feet. Towards the back of the mat. I'm more in the middle of my mat. Bend your knees a lot and we'll rise up in a high squat. Forearms are on the thighs, but they're just there for balance, a light touch. In fact, I want you to take your thumbs, hook them in your hip creases, push your hips back. And at the same time, you're reaching forward with the crown of your head, dropping your shoulders down away from your ears. And then settle into that, maintaining that axial alignment, that axial extension. The spine is stretching in both directions. Take the hands to the knees and we'll do some cat-cow in this shape. So come into cow. Lift the heart, lift the gaze, curl that tailbone up, drop the shoulders out of the ears. And then exhale, round into a cat back. Tuck your chin, go back and forth. Giving each vertebrae a chance to move. Each disc in between the vertebrae a chance to get a little massage. Keeping those disc space hydrated and healthy. Let's do one more each way. Now pull your feet away from each other. You can take your hands to your hips and you're going to feel those legs engage. Now we're going to support ourselves with these big leg muscles as we rise to stand. Feet are wide. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Look at the thumbs. And exhale. Bring the hands home to the heart. Bring the feet to the center of the mat now. And let's take a little meditative walk to the top of the mat. So feeling each step. Maybe not looking at the feet. You can challenge your balance here. You can even reach overhead. Like you're walking a tightrope. You're in the circus. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a circus. Bring the feet hip distance apart once you get here. Let's sway a little bit here. Lift the toes. I always like to bring the hands into this. So once my hands and fingers start moving, my toes and my feet can kind of mimic the movement. Find that dexterity in both the hands and the feet. And then come to stillness. Rise up. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Turn your thumbs to face forward. On an exhale, find mountain pose, Tadasana. Breathe. Inhale, swing your arms up. Take your left wrist with your right hand, pull up on that arm, and then fold to the right. Inhale out. Exhale, arms come down. Second side, inhale up. Take right wrist with the left hand, pull up, fold to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, bring the hands down to the sides. Roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Slow range of motion. And again, maybe some noises here. Pops and cracks. And then go the other way. And then come to stillness. So let's kind of break down our chair pose today, Utkatasana. It can be a pose that is not everybody's favorite. Keep in mind, as we age, one of the most important things we can retain in our abilities, our physical abilities, is the ability to get up and down out of the chair, up and down off of the floor. That will keep us very independent and very involved in life. If you lose that, So this will strengthen those muscles that will help you get up and down out of your chair, off the toilet, off the floor, wherever you need to get up and down from. First, let's bring the feet hip distance apart. We're going to start here. I want you to take your hands to your hips. As you inhale, tilt your hips forward. So my tailbone just lifted. I've got a big arc in my back. This is an anterior tilt, forward tilt of the pelvis, like I'm dumping soup in the floor from the bowl of my pelvis. Now come to neutral, that place where if your pelvis had some soup in it, it wouldn't spill. I'm going to dump the soup behind me. So it's like a crunch. Posterior tilt. Come back to neutral. Anterior tilt. Come back to neutral. Posterior tilt. Pelvic tilting, so just a side note, really good for low back health. These are good things to just do every day. You can do this when you're standing in the kitchen, waiting on the microwave to go off, in the store in line for groceries. And then find the place that's neutral. Bring the arms down, back to Utkatasana. Sit bones. We feel those when we sit. Oftentimes in my warm-up with you, I'll have you rock side to side. Bring awareness to the sit bones, and then bring awareness to the heels, the backs, the Achilles tendon. Bend the knees and stay upright. The only movement comes in the knees. So now those sit bones are hovering right over the heels. Notice as you start to flex here, you kind of want to arc the back and bring those ribs forward. Don't do it. That's one of the reasons you don't like chair. So bring that tailbone, scoop it under a bit, knit the ribs together. Keep breathing. Arms to the sides, fingers hang down. Feel the power, feel the heat, feel the tapas that we're building in the legs. So this is just a little gentle chair pose. We're just going to leave the arms out of it for now. Keep the shoulders over the hips. Keep reaching through the crown of the head. So much going on if you allow it. Now as you inhale, rise up. Step it out. Let's add the arms. So bring your arms forward. Keep the legs out of this now. And I want you to have the palms facing each other. And then roll the little fingers towards each other as the palms face up. Now feel how that drops your shoulders out of your ears and it wraps your shoulder blades towards your armpits. Now swing your arms up, only to where it's comfortable. It doesn't have to be right by your ears. In fact, let's not bring it by the ears. We're going to bring it forward. Now keep the shoulders right where they are, but just turn the hands to face each other. You can even bring the palms together. And then exhale, back to mountain pose. All right, let's put those two together. So we're going to stand in a neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Bend the knees. You can peek down there, tuck the chin. You should be able to see just the tops of your toes. Shoulders over hips. Scoop your tailbone a bit. Knit those ribs together. Now bring the arms out. Bring the little fingers towards each other. And bring your arms up. Keep the shoulders like they are. Turn the hands to face each other. Look up at your thumbs. So this is a nice gentle chair pose. But if we hold this and let's do for about 5 breaths, you'll start to feel it. Keep that tailbone scooped. Keep the ribs knitted. Don't let those ribs flare. 2 more breaths. And then bring the arms down as you straighten the legs. Let's inhale, reach up. Maybe a little back bend here and exhale. Bring the hands home to the heart. So this time we'll deepen it a bit. I want you to keep the hands right down alongside of the thighs. Scoop the tailbone under, and we're going to bend the knees, lower the hips. You'll have to fold forward a little more here. And reach those fingertips down towards the ankles. Now swing your arms up and scoop the tailbone, knit the ribs. So now we're deeper. Look up at your thumbs. Chair. Utkatasana. Fierce pose. On your inhale, rise straight up. And on an exhale, bring the hands down. I'll step it out a little bit. Let's take an opportunity to do a little balance, but this will be a little stretch to these quads. So time out from chair. From mountain pose, I want you to shift to the right. You're going to come into dancer. Lift the left knee, slide the hand down the shin, and then drop the knee. You're going to feel that nice stretch in the front of the left thigh. You can reach this right arm up, roll that little finger in, and maybe you fold forward a bit here. Breathe. And then without slingshotting that foot, release it gently. Let's bring the foot forward, point the toes, and step down. Let's take the second side. Or shift the weight to the left. Bring the right knee up. Slide the hand down the shin. Now drop the knee. Find your balance. And then find that stretch in the front of the right thigh. If you kind of push down with the knee, push the foot into the hand and resist, you'll also get a nice stretch here in the shoulder. And then you can come into dancer if you like, holding forward any amount, and then rising up. Reach out with the toe and find mountain pose. So now let's take a more traditional base with Utkatasana, Samastitihi. And I hear lots of different pronunciations of that Sanskrit word, so I may be butchering it. Look it up sometime. The spelling is strange. So bring your big toes, well, bring the feet together. So bring the feet together. Look down at the feet. We're going to lift the toes, spread the toes wide. Really feeling into the four corners of the feet. Now lift the heels and open them about the width of your thumb, the width of a couple of fingers. And feel that that gently internally rotates the thighs. That's important for the back. So this is a more traditional stance for chair pose. Bend the knees now. Sit bones right over the heels. Scoop the tailbone. Knit those ribs together. Arms up. Drop the shoulders, maybe palms together, maybe gaze up. Breathe. So if this doesn't feel good, sometimes this is not the best pose for me because of my knees. You can bring your feet hip distance apart. This time as you exhale, we're going to fold forward. I love to fold forward from chair. So keep the knees bent once you arrive. Let's play here just a bit, stretching still those hamstrings. Bring the hands to the shins, lift halfway. So we're still rolling those inner thighs back. As we lift up, you can even take those thumbs to the hip creases again, pushing back, dropping the shoulders, reaching out through the crown of the head. And then exhale, fold. Bring the fingertips down by the mat, and we'll rise up in our chair, but we're going to keep going all the way up. And exhale the hands home to the heart. So let's do that one more time, and then we're going to blend our chair pose into Surya Namaskar B. So sun salutation B, and that involves Utkatasana. All right, let's do that again. So find Samastitihi, and feel up and down the body. Are there any things you need to adjust, to bring into alignment? I'm going to lower my hips, bringing my fingertips down towards my ankles, any amount. And then as I swing my arms up, I'm going to scoop my tailbone down, knit my ribs. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Let's find plank pose. Let's drop the knees. Tops of the feet to the mat. Sink the hips down. We'll take a little modified up dog, back bend here, high cobra. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Let's hold here for about 5 breaths. Kind of integrate what we just did. Now bring the toes together here in your down dog and swing your right leg back and up. Step it forward. Make sure the feet are on railroad tracks. Now we're going to come up in a lunge. Once we get to the lunge, just pause here, even though lunge isn't what I'm focusing on today. Bend that left knee. Scoop the sit bone down, knit the ribs. Maybe you can reach through that back heel a little more, maybe not. Get a nice stretch here, hands to heart. Fold forward. Step back in plank. Drop the knees, sink the hips, heart comes forward and up, take your back bend, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Bring the toes to touch. Now the left leg back and up. Step it forward. Feet on railroad tracks. Rise up. Hands to hips. Bend the right knee. Scoop the tailbone. Bring the ribs and the top of the pelvis, almost like you're starting a crunch, but it brings you to neutral. Knit the rib cage together. Bring the hands to heart. You can reach through that right heel if it feels good. If it doesn't, bring you into this over-arched back. Exhale, fold forward. Find your plank. Drop your knees. Tops of the feet to the mat. Sink your hips down. Heart comes forward and up. Tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Let's hold here for 5 breaths. You can wiggle around if you like, but find at least a couple of breaths of stillness. Let the body, the mind, and the spirit integrate all that we've done today in our practice so far. Now bring your gaze forward between the hands. Bend your knees a bit as you're pushing that mat away. And maybe you can make it up to the top with 2 steps. Maybe not. Now heel toe the feet together until the big toes touch. Drop your hips. Bring your fingertips down towards the mat. I like to pretend I'm trickling my fingers through water here. I'm going to swing my arms forward and up. And then rising all the way up from my chair. Exhale, hands home to the heart. Back to Samasthiti. And again, you can have your feet hip distance apart if that feels better for you in your chair pose. All right, let's do that again. Find your standing posture. I'm going to bend my knees, drop my sit bones, maybe even go a little deeper this time, reaching the fingertips down towards that water, then swinging them forward, scooping the tailbone, bringing the low ribs towards the pelvis, knitting the ribs together. Fierce pose. Exhale, forward fold, Utkatasana. Inhale, lift halfway. I like the sensation of the thumbs and the hip creases to help bring awareness to that axial extension, decompressing the spine. Fold forward, hands to the mat, find your plank. If chaturanga is in your practice, go ahead. If not, find your way to your back bend. And then meet me in down dog. Left leg back and up. Step it forward. Lunge, so feet on railroad tracks. Check it out. Inhale, rise up. Pay attention to that pelvis. And then you're looking for a nice stretch here in the hip flexors on the right. Maybe we'll add a little back bend to this. Breathe, high crescent lunge. Exhale, folding forward. Plank. Chaturanga to up dog. We're finding your back bend or just going right to downward facing dog. And right leg back and up. Step it forward. Railroad tracks. Rise up. See if you can remember all those adjustments. Bring some inner awareness, pratyahara. Maybe high crescent lunge. Adding a back bend, but adding some challenges to your agility, to your balance. Exhale, fold forward. Plank. And this time, let's take our plank to our belly. And we'll find crocodile. Stack the hands, separate the feet, left and right edges of the mat. Bring your forehead to the back of the hands. I'm going to keep my head lifted. bend the knees, and then windshield wiper the shins, but bring the hips with you. And then awareness to the lumbar spine, the low back, the sacrum. These little side-to-side movements help release any tension. Now float your feet down. Again, not slingshotting, not just dropping them down. Tops of the feet on the floor. Some of my students have trouble with that plantar flexion. So if you need to, you can stay on the balls of your feet, at least on your toes. But know that flexibility is something maybe you can bring a little more focus to in your practice. Now let's heel toe I guess heel toe doesn't really describe it here. Let's just scoot those legs hip distance apart. We'll bring the tops of the feet to the floor. Slide your hands right next to your armpits. Tuck your chin. So you may want to lift the head and really tuck the chin down there. My fingers are spread wide. My elbows are reaching towards my ribs. Shoulders are dropped out of the ears. Now pull those hands again towards the hips without letting them move. Already you're going to feel the heart scoot forward. Follow that. And the heart's going to float right up like an airplane taking off. And the head unfurls last. Little baby cobra. Let's take 4 more of these. We'll do a rolling baby cobra. Tuck that chin when you come down. Exhale completely. Inhale, pull those hands towards the hips. Heart starts to come forward. Follow that, and eventually the only place to go is up and down. So keep following the upper body, but let's shift awareness to the lower body. I want you to draw the pubic bone towards the lower ribs. Draw the navel back towards the spine and keep it there. Breathe into the ribs. So we're engaging Uddiyana Bandha, supporting the low back. Last one. And then back to crocodile. Separate the legs. And you can just kind of flip-flop your hips side to side. Or do those shin windshield wipers, maybe even circles. And let's invite the exhale to do its magic. Bring some rest in this shape. Three more breaths. Now line the legs up with the hips, tops of the feet on the mat, hands to the floor. We're going to press up, back, and down, coming onto the shins. Thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana. Tops of those feet are on the mat. Keep your arms hanging. Keep the shoulders over the hips. We're going to lift, but the focus is going to be, instead of swinging forward to lift, see if we can press into the tops of the feet, tops of the shins as we come up. So again, building on those muscles that will help us come up and down in our life and our activities of daily living. Now we can add the arms, swinging the arms forward and up. And then down to the sides. Let's do 4 more. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more. Push into the shins. Push into the feet. You'll feel those leg muscles. Last one. And then come down with the hands, tuck the toes. Let's find our plank. Rock forward and back here. And then finding your plank alignment, shifting the shoulders right over the wrists, maybe even a little forward. I'm going to keep my feet kind of wide. Tip your heels to the right. A little sway in the hips. Tip your heels to the left. So the very beginnings of a side plank. And coming back to plank, let's drop the knees. Sit back briefly in child's pose. You can give a little love to the wrists and the fingers and the hands. Breathe up and down the spine. Crawl forward, find your plank again. Now tip the heels to the right. So you're on the inside of the left foot, outside of the right foot. Maybe you bring that left arm up. Stay strong in your side plank. You can always bring that top foot up here. So left foot kind of supporting you in this. Or you can stack the feet. Unwind. Take the second side. Stay strong in that left arm, so push the mat away. And if you want to, the right foot can come up here, or the right foot can stack on top of the left, bringing it to a little deeper challenge. And then unwind. Bend your knees and come to a seated position. Let's come to Baddha Konasana. So bring the feet a little further forward as you bring the soles of the feet together. Adjust here on your sit bones, maybe even rocking side to side, pulling the flesh away so you can feel the sit bones. Sit tall. On an inhale, reach through the crown of the head. On an exhale, fold right here at the hips. Any amount you can pause as you find your way to your edge of this forward fold. You can take your hands into your knees and just a gentle press into the knees, but resist with the knees. And then relax the knees. And then resist with the knees. And then relax with the knees. You may find you're invited to go a little deeper with this gentle stretching technique. Gentle but powerful. And then in this shape, I always like to just let it go. Now I know for some of us, coming this far forward is not where you're going to be. You may be just up here. You may be here. This might be as high as you're going to come. You find your edge and then stay there for a few breaths. Let it go. And if you're folded forward with me, use your fingertips on the mat to help you come back up. Take your hands to your knees and help them back up. Bring your feet in line with your hips. Make sure there's plenty of mat behind you. Now find that alignment in the spine. So let's sit tall and do that. Reaching through the crown of the head, this neutral spine. And then we're going to lean back like we're in our lazy boy chair, but we have to support ourselves. We're not in the chair. So don't let this become a rounding. Let this be alignment. Feel that engagement of the core. Keep that and lift your shins. You can take your fingertips lightly behind your knees just for alignment. If you need this death grip, come up higher. Maybe even keep the feet down. Maybe even bring one foot up at a time. Navasana, boat pose. Shaking is okay. And then I'm going to bring my feet down, and I am going to round down today, one vertebrae at a time. Pausing here, walking my feet so they're under my knees. Arriving in a neutral spine, letting that spine reset. Walk the hands close to you. Tuck your shoulder blades. And we'll do 3 gentle bridges. So inhale, push into the feet, push into the hands. Gently lift the hips. And exhale, come down. See if your awareness can bring you down 1 vertebrae at a time, and as you land, you're landing on a flat sacrum. 2 more, inhale up. And exhale down. One more. And then coming down, arriving in stillness for a moment, just experiencing this shape. This shape in relationship to your breath, in relationship to gravity. And then any last minute movements you might need before our Shavasana. I'm just going to open up into corpse pose. Let's let that exhalation, out breath, do its magic. Washing away any tension. Washing away anything that no longer serves us. Making space. Resting here for a few moments of stillness. Shift your awareness to your toes and see how little tiny you can make the movements as you introduce movement back into the toes. Let those fingers join, and the feet and the hands and the ankles and the wrists, everything start moving. Let's take a nice good morning stretch on an inhale, engaging all of the muscles, maybe even a yawn. And an exhale, draw the knees to the chest. How about we round up today, bringing the nose towards the knees, and that can even continue into an upright seat. Still snowing, nice peaceful wintry morning. Let's take one more back bend here. So we've still got our day ahead of us. Let's bring a little energy as you inhale, lift the gaze, lift the heart. And exhale back to neutral. Let's do that one more time, taking our back bend, bringing some more energy to the body, mind, and the spirit. And exhale. So we just stimulated the sympathetic nervous system. Fight or flight, but really we need to engage. We need to be engaged for the day. Inhale, let's swing the arms up, grab some snowflakes. Exhale, hands to heart. May you have peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful world. Namaste. Join me Monday, 7 a.m. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me. I've got glasses laying all over the place here, and I usually can't find a pair when I need them.